I'm gonna bring them out real quick and have a little brief conversation, and then the lads will be here for about 20 minutes, and then we gotta excuse them, but then we'll have some solo time with Spencer. We'll talk about some of her stuff and later too, but I'll bring them on out, we'll jump right into questions, then we go back and forth, and we'll just have some fun. So, shall we begin? Woo! Our first guest, he's an actor and is the current voice of the eternally beleaguered Morty Smith. Please welcome Harry Belden! He's an actor and producer whose credits include Clear History and the 13th Doctor Screen Test, which is a YouTube parody video. Check that out, it's funny. And today he joins us as the voice of the current voice of Rick Sanchez. Please welcome Ian Cardoni! And next, she's an actress whose credits include Greek, Roommate Wanted, and the upcoming animated series Isla Monstro. Today she joins us to discuss the role of Summer Smith. Please welcome Spencer Bremer!
Yeah, this is the distance.
He just went where the mics went.
Yeah.
I know he wanted his own.
That's better. Yeah, he's coming.
He's Harry Belden.
Well, friends, hope you had a fun weekend with us.
So fun. Yeah, everyone here has been really wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great to meet fans. Thanks so much for having us here.
No, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. So, real quick, I'll throw this out. I've heard this story before. I'd love them to hear it. Love to hear how these roles came about for you. And we're going chronologically, then ladies first.
Oh, yes. I've been on the show since the beginning. I got the show in 2011, I want to say. Yeah, 2010, actually. So I've been on the show for a number of years. That's when we did the pilot, and it wasn't a couple of years until you guys actually got to see the show.
Doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Well, there's been a lot of in-between time between seasons. So season 8 will be airing sometime in this year. So yeah, but I've been there from the beginning, and I auditioned for it just like everyone does when they're trying to get a show. Unless you've been on shows enough that you start to get offers, but very rarely you're usually auditioning. Most likely you're auditioning for things and rarely getting offers.
Yeah, so I started as a fan of the show. I've been watching since season 1, and like I do with anything that I like and watch in media, I imitate it as a form of just admiration. So I had a Rick impression sort of in my back pocket as a party trick for friends, and then when the role came up, I'd already been working as an actor for a number of years, already in voiceover for a number of years, hadn't quite broken into animation, and so I said, hey, you know what? I'll throw my hat in the ring. I think I got a decent enough voice. It was a 6-month audition process for me, and then finally got the call. Yeah, season 7's out, season 8 coming soon. That's the very truncated timeline. Harry Belden.
That is perfect because I had the exact same experience as Ian. Quite literally, yeah. 6 months long, and just saw the auditions were going out. I was like, okay, I do Morty for fun. Like, let's do that. And then 6 months and however many callbacks later, boom, they liked what they heard, and here we are.
And of course, she was able to develop the role and get her own. Both you guys had the challenges of matching and getting that timbre and everything else. And again, everybody thinks, oh yeah, Morty, whatever. Rick. It's like everybody could do it at a party or something like that too. But again, when you get in that booth, the threshold, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of those light touches and everything else. And again, a credit to both of you for being able to find those moments.
Thank you, yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and the other thing is the ability to sustain so that we can do multiple seasons, multiple session records, multiple episodes, and then continue the show, hopefully indefinitely. So, there was a moment, at least for me, during the audition process when I realized, okay, what passed for, a fun party trick, you got a laugh by doing a line, wasn't going to pass for the audition round. And even though that version got me in the room and got them listening, that's not going to pass for what is required of the show. So there was sort of like a leveling up that I think we needed to do in terms of how to do the voice, not just replicate it, but be able to sustain it. And after the first 2 episodes of season 7 that we did, it was no longer a match, 1-for-1 match of what was in place. We sort of, we've taken it in our own directions. Yes, the cadence is there, but we're being directed and coming up with our own choices now.
Yeah. You're picking up and evolving the characters, and that's what it is. You're just like, okay, we're just going in this direction, but it's natural.
Right, and if you watch any show, especially animated shows, characters change all the time. Watch season 1 of a show, Simpsons, for example, you know, and yeah, exactly, you know, and you just see how they change and they grow and they evolve. Because
Go out for a steak chocolate milkshake.
Exactly. Perfect
The
example.
first season of that show is so different to where it ends up being.
Are you little? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and our job is just to be true to the characters, true to the story, and you know, keep seasons coming out for you guys to keep watching for 100 years.
Yeah. Well, we certainly hope so. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and jump on in and take some audience questions. We've got you guys for 16 minutes and 32 seconds. So let's see what we can get. And then when we're done with that, then you and I, we can go backwards a little bit, talk about your gig coming up and stuff. And for whatever it's worth, I was a fan of Ironside.
Oh, thank you. I want to go first. I want to go. It's over there.
All right. No, let's do a line. We'll do a line. So that way we can get so yeah, you gotta, I'm sorry, you have to stand up and you gotta get in line. I'll tell you what, you go over. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Emma.
What you got in?
This is for everybody. How does it feel to work together? Since Spencer, you're with the new Rick and the new Morty, how does it feel to work with them?
I think I've said this before, but we actually never really worked together. This is probably the only time we're together. When we record the episodes, we go into a booth individually and we just get directed. So I just imagine people saying the words in my mind, and then I respond as Summer. So it's been lovely to have them because they're wonderful guys and have wonderful partners, and we have been doing conventions, so we travel basically the entire world together. And that's been a truly lovely experience. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to say the cast, including Spencer, have been really supportive since Harry and I have taken on the role. So we've been fans of them for years, and so to work alongside them is an honor.
Yes.
It's always fun when they get to a troupe style and you get everybody in the room. That's few and far between. But it's a treat when it does happen. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, what's your name? What you got?
Yeah, Paul, aka Pee Wee Herman.
Hi.
You're really writers. Are there any particular episodes from each of you where you were particularly inquisitive with the writers about the situations, the story of that episode, getting more feedback so to help with their performance in particular? You sort of understand what the writers had in mind when they were writing that particular episode?
Something kind of baffling on the script that you needed a little more. Tell me more about this so I can visualize it. Something like that?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
There have been times in previous earlier seasons where I didn't get the episode until I got there because they were rewriting it. And I had no opportunity to read it. So I would have to ask what was happening since I hadn't read any of the script yet. But most of the time, it makes sense to me. I think, especially playing a character for a long time, I'm pretty prepared at how she interacts and experiences the world. My only questions will sometimes be Summer swearing a lot in an episode. I feel did you guys not notice that every other word she says is fuck in this episode? Maybe we could tone it down. Those are usually the only things, but most of the time it makes sense to me. We're working out where the comedy plays harder. Is it funnier if we emphasize this at the end of the sentence and stuff like that? It's not necessarily confusing for me anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I feel very rarely I'll be wait, I don't get this one part. What? So and to inform what, and then they'll be oh yeah, it's just and then they explain it. I'm okay, yeah, but I think that's just me being dumb. And then, but also like Spencer said, they do so many rewrites of the episodes that that we come in, we record, we come in the next week. There's a bunch of stuff that's different. Some of the however many of the lines we did are gone, replaced with new lines, and everything's tightened. So the process just changes so much that you just kind of you roll with it.
I think there were definitely some questions that I had when we did a really canon heavy episode of Mort Rick in season 7, because that was one that went through extensive rewrites, and it was one that we really wanted to get right. And so questions in terms of what's going through Rick Prime's head at this moment besides Rick's fist. And there were questions that we would ask I would ask in the room just to try to get inside the character a little more, but it's a luxury, I think, in voice acting work to be able to and the nature of our roles in particular, to have that access to the writers and directors in those moments. Most times you show up on set, you're expected to just go on, you do your thing, and there's really no discussion about the craft unless you're lucky enough to have rehearsals in an on-camera setting. So it's a luxury of what we're able to do.
Cool, great question, thank you. Hey, what's your name? What you got?
Nastia. Sorry. Question for everyone. You said you were fans of the show before, like since the beginning. Is the changing in writing noticeable since the original creator is gone? Is it like less edgy or something? I don't know.
Actually, there's a lot of things people don't really know about what goes on a TV show. So the writing team, when you write a show, there are different writers who take episodes, and typically they all write collectively to break the story, and then one writer will take that episode and write it. But in general, the writing has been pretty consistent since about season 2 with the same writers.
Yeah, I mean, can't speak before season 7,
Right.
I think it's fair to say that we all agree that the series feels the same. It really does. So
season 7's pretty edgy if you've watched it.
I mean, the biggest thing that happened was Mike Mandel passed away suddenly, and that was our line producer, and that sort of changed the dynamics of the work, only because it was very shocking and difficult. The line producer is the person in charge of kind of everything, and then also the how much it costs to make and where everybody gets paid, and just kind of schedules everything. So it became really difficult just as we were grieving the loss of him.
Hey, what's your name? What you got?
Hi, my name is Tad, aka Tendo Tadio, and my question is, what is your favorite scene from Rick and Morty?
Oh, what I loved is it's largely not a lot of dialogue, but in the beginning of More Rick and when we get to finally see Evil Morty's backstory. I remember watching that for the first time, the first cut, and I was just like, oh my god, this is it. We're about to find out how it happened and how it all went down. So there's not a lot of talking in it, but it's one of my faves.
It's hard to pick a favorite, but today I'm going to say Snake Jazz. Just because it's so goofy and funny to me. Yeah.
I think that some of the things that stand out the most to me are the wordless parts of the episodes, like where we're in the snake world, when we follow Morty as he, does a do-over on his life but gets trapped in, wherever he is, and it's the Alive episode, I call it. I think that that's a phenomenal way of storytelling when it's completely visual, and yet we feel so much, and I think that, those are some of my favorites. Today, I'll say.
Yeah, the montages in Spaghetti episode and on More Ricken are, that's what hits you in the feels. It's, credit to the music as well that's in the show.
Yeah, I was going to say Ryan Elder really does a lot in there that's pretty phenomenal.
Cool. Great one, thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Anna, and okay, I wanted to ask, are we gonna get any more Rick Prime content, or is he gone? Are we gonna see him in the past or anything, what he was doing?
Well, they can't really talk about stuff coming up or get in trouble, so.
I couldn't spoil it even if I did know, but I can honestly say I don't know. What I will say is, we've got a show where there's an infinite number of multiverses where we can travel and things like that. They've, bent the rules and done all kinds of things in the past. But there's some great adventures coming up in season 8, so stay tuned.
Yeah. You want more Rick Prime, and I want more Mr. Nimbus. Hopefully we get both our wishes. Hey, what's your name? What you got?
Hello, I'm Con, and hopefully let's see no more Mr. Frumbles in the future.
Maybe dangerous.
It's scary.
Takes over the whole world.
So, what is it you guys think about Rick and Morty that makes it so special to everyone, and why it's stuck around all these years?
I think a big part of it is family dynamics. I think a lot of people can see the dysfunctionality in the Smith family and maybe relate it to their own. I know I do. I think there's also that element of growth, and I think it happens at just enough of a pace to, keep you invested in these characters and kind of reward you in seeing their growth, and then like you throw a healthy dose of wacky sci-fi in there. I think a lot of people can relate to it.
I think it's the burps.
It's definitely
Mom, you're
worse.
so proud.
So proud. I agree with Harry on that one. I think it's about, it's specific but universal, and it transcends like those things because it's centered around divinity.
All right, great one. Now, go on. Hey, what's your name?
Tristan,
What you got?
it's for all of you. What are your guys' favorite lines to say?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yes.
There's a moment in Spaghetti episode that I laugh at every time I think about it, and from the first time I read it, where I'm feeding Morty spaghetti, and I say choo-choo plane, like, choo-choo plane, which is funny because it mixes metaphors, and that just tickles me.
I really like somebody quoted to me today. There's another Ian Cardoni where he just says, "I don't need a Robin," and I just love that because it's like a great line, obviously. And then I'm a big Batman fan, so to say that line, I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Recently, I've been thinking about where Summer becomes Bigfoot, because I got to do that line and I was like, feet so small, right? I did that a bunch of times, and I think it's fun for me to play other weird, cryptozoological characters.
I love that one. And it's also, Morty, one go Western bacon. Morty, Western bacon now. Here. Oh, yeah.
I will always love to show me what you got.
Classic.
And is that Mr. Nimbus? Now, I was informed here that Tristan is celebrating a birthday. So how old are you?
I'm turning 10 next month.
Excellent. Someday you'll be old enough to watch our show.
Yeah. It's so brave to come here and ask a question. I don't know if I would have had the courage to do
Agreed,
that. So
yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. This is great. One for you. You're welcome. Come on. Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Mario. I want to ask something, working about in a show that has like the same characters but in different dimensions, there are moments that it's amazing how, for example, you can see the different personalities of each character in each dimension. For example, one of those moments I think is when Morty gets his toxicity out, and he passed from something like a guy that has zero confidence in himself to a really chill guy that overloads in confidence and self-esteem. So how do you manage to do that? And also,
Well, yeah, it was different, but the whole thing is like when the characters are pushed out of their normal boundaries into new areas.
I mean, that's acting, right?
They play evil more. I mean, you play Rick Prime and
Yeah,
regular
yeah.
Rick, and then you play.
Yeah, I mean,
regular
actors theoretically can jump into any number of roles, and so these are just any number of versions of these roles. So, we're always bringing versions of ourselves to anything that we might do, any material that we pick up. So we're just tapping into maybe something that's a little stronger in one iteration of Rick. Maybe there's a slight vocal change, potentially,
Yeah.
or if there is a vocal change between those types of characters, then it might just arise organically. But it's really just sort of true to character psychology in that moment, and what they want. So it goes back to motivation and what drives us all.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. There you go. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hey, what's your name? What you got?
My name is Ethan Navarro. I am 29 years old.
Well, good to see you, Ethan. So, do you have a question?
Yes, just curious, as we continue seeing more movies centered around the multiverse, do you guys feel that Rick and Morty is the show that paved the way for the multiverse craze that we're currently living in now in pop culture? Or do you think you guys were just building off other franchises in regards to multiverse?
I think some of the writers who actually wrote those Avengers movies were writers on Rick and Morty originally. I think it became more tangible in a certain way. But Back to the Future had already existed, or a few other movies that transcend time and time travel and things like that. But I do think it became sort of a global phenomenon, and then it already existed in those comics anyway, but became more in the forefront. Yeah, I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely a good example of, I think, the Rick and Morty influence in a way.
I honestly think that Rick and Morty showed just how much utility you can get out of the multiversal concept within a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, all art is derivative, I'd say, but what our show does really well as well is with all of the different versions of multiverse, pop culture, sci-fi coming up, it's kind of stayed true to its own form and sort of the things that make it unique. So it might be influenced in some ways, but I think it's still staying true to what it set out to do originally, even though there's all these other versions of that type of storytelling popping up. So, yeah, thank you for your question.
Okay, we're just about to let you guys know what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is this. Usually we do this at the end, but let's go ahead and take our stage selfies so we get all of you guys all together. So we're gonna do it. All right, and then we're gonna continue with her for a little bit. So we'll kind of do like a mini one with her.
Yeah, I forgot my portal gun. We have to fly, so that's
We're going through the portal.